Hey everybody, welcome to Grimm's Forge Gaming. Today we are going to cover my updated Magicka Spartan build, my Magicka Templar build. And recently I did a video, I moved him to Stamina and I did a Stamplar tank build on him. But anyways, Magicka has always been his home and I want to share the build that I've been running. It's very powerful and it'll get even stronger with Greymore's release. So let's jump into that. Also, after this build video, if you want to hang out, some friends asked me to do a BG walkthrough and just kind of talk about what's going on in my mind as I'm doing a BG with this particular build. I play this build very aggressive, and most of the time the thing that gets me killed is being overly aggressive. But anyways, we'll see that in the BG footage. Stick around for that. Jumping into the build, we are using Valken Scoria, and I can't praise this helm or this monster set enough. Now it is getting changed a little bit, and I think the one piece bonus is getting changed from max health to spell penetration, or spell penetration for Greymore, which is fine. I'm good with that. Right now the one piece is nice though, with max health, and I can tell you that this is a very steady damage output in BGs. You'll see regularly a 4K, 6K meteor drop on your opponent's head, and so I like that for that reason. We are running 5 light, 2 heavy on this, and when you look at our resistances and everything, because we are a Nord, our stats are pretty nice. I really like this build. Like I said, it's only going to get stronger, and we'll talk why. Anyways, we're running 2-piece Scoria, and we have max Magicka enchants on both those. Then we are running New Moon Acolyte, and I will probably, going into Greymore, be switching my New Moon set out for the Stoon set because of that penetration. So our Gap Closer toppling charge will set opponents off balance, and then we're going to get 11,000 penetration on that target. So that's going to make us even stronger as well. That's one of the reasons we're going to be stronger going into Greymore. But anyways, we're running New Moons and New Moon right now, and once we make the move to Stoons, I think they've got that anywhere from a 12 to 17% damage increase, so it's pretty significant. Scary. The other set that we are running is Amber Plasm. This is another reason that this build is only going to get stronger, because Amber Plasm's getting a buff for Greymore. Not only does the Magicka and stamina recovery of the 5-piece gain, it's going to be more in Greymore. They're adding a line of health recovery as well. And so that was a reason for me to come off of Vampire on this build. Another reason for me to come off of Vampire is looking forward to Greymore. While I like the Undeath passive, I like the recovery from Vampire right now. The way the changes are going to work with Vampire for Greymore, if what they've proposed is a 20% ability cost for anything other than Vampire when you're stage 4 Vampire, and that just simply won't work for me. And could I control my vampirism level? Yes, but I'm not trying to gain any additional cost values right now. And so with the change to Amber Plasma, adding the health recovery, increasing the recovery of Magicka and Stamina in the 5-piece, it just made sense to come off of Vampire. So really excited for that. So those are actually 2 reasons that we listed why this build is going to get stronger. 3, I guess, technically. The first being that the 1-piece bonus of Scoria is changing to penetration. That's good. The second is we're going to make the move from New Moon to Stoons, and we're going to gain a lot of penetration there. And then the third being the Amber Plasm is getting buffed as far as its 5-piece with recoveries, and you're gaining a line of health recovery. So if I come off of Vampire, that's going to be just a plus for me. Plus, going into Greymore, expect a ton of Dawnbreakers just crushing vampires and werewolves left and right. So Anyways, big fan of this set. Going through, we've got Max Magicka, and on our jewelry, we're running infused on this one, and we've added spell damage. We're running infused on this one, and we've added magic recovery. And then this one, we're just keeping as arcane right now with magic recovery because we needed to keep our base Magicka stats up. Let's look at the stats here real quick. Unbuffed, 5 light, 2 heavy. Max Magicka, I want to be at that 30k Max Magicka. And then our health outside of PvP is 21,000. And we're going to be at 27,000 in PvP. That's really strong spot to be in for someone that pushes good DPS. I like where our max stamina is as well, at 17,000. We're good for a couple break frees and we're good for a couple dodge rolls, and then we're in some trouble, but for the most part I like that. Our magic recovery unbuffed is at 1500. The thing to know about this is we have a couple ways to get this up and over 2k, but one of the most important things about Magicka Templar that you should know is the breaking point for your puncturing sweeps to be almost a free cast for you, as long as you're doing a light attack weave, is going to be around the 17 to 1800 regen. As long as you have 17 to 1800 regen, as you're doing a sweep and then you cycle a light attack, sweep, light attack, sweep, light attack, that 17 to 1800, you're going to be able to go for a very long time. So when you're building your Magplars, try and aim for that type of magic recovery. Now, of course, you hit the 2k and plus, you're going to be able to 1vx and things like that. Um, Kind of along the lines, one of the things we talked about was the Amber Plasm gaining health recovery going into next patch. And so if we gain health recovery, we're going to be over a K health recovery now, because we're not a vampire. And so our max magic recovery is our magic recovery is gonna go up next patch or for Greymore. Our health recovery is gonna go up for Greymore. Our stamina recovery is gonna go up for Greymore. And something else is our crit resistance is gonna go up by 1350. And so this build right here, keep an eye on this. Amber Plasm and Stunes, or Amber Plasm and New Moon. Um, it's a really strong build. So now if we lose that 1200 health, we're still going to be over the 2k. It'll still put us at 25,000 in PvP, 26,000 PvP. So we're going to be okay there, but our spell penetration is going to go off the charts. Unbuffed right now, we're at 9k spell penetration. We hit a toppling charge against somebody, set him off balance with Stunes. This is going to go up to 20k penetration. 20k penetration. That's scary. And that's not counting the penetration that we're going to get from Scoria as well. I really like this build going into Greymore a lot. So let's look at the abilities right now. We have a couple different ways you can play this, and right now I'm kind of playing my Zerg Buster version of this, and you'll see why. But anyways, we got toppling charge, and this can regularly set an enemy off balance, which is great. So that's what's going to synergize so well with Stunes. Unbuffed, our puncturing sweeps are coming in at 3200. This is our primary spammable. It also applies a movement speed. It applies 40% movement speed negative to the opponent, so that's great, and it heals you for 44% of the damage done. It's primary spammable, it's most of your damage. So Purifying Light is our damage multiplier. It does a little bit of damage up front, and this does have the ability to proc, and then it leaves a healing pool on the ground afterwards. So if you want to be sneaky burst damage, I don't run an execute on this because this is in essence my execute, and you'll see in the video, if I can debuff them with Elemental Drain, it's going to apply Major Breach to them, so the damage I'm doing, they're going to take more. And I'm also getting Minor Magicka Steel, hit them with Purifying Light, and then start putting some Puncturing Sweeps into them. When this procs, it's going to be a good amount of damage, and it'll get a lot of people out of there. You can see in the video. Sustain Elemental Drain, which we talked about, and then I'm running Channeled Acceleration. I like Channeled Acceleration over Race Against Time. However, if you want a snare removal, run Race Against Time. That's no problem. What I found is I really like the major expedition for 12 seconds and the minor force for 36 seconds. So the fact that I can cast this and I've got 12 seconds of additional movement speed against my targets, I'm gaining 30% movement speed from this and they're losing 40%. So my opponent and I have a 70% damage or a 70% movement speed difference between the two of us, and so that's been working out really well. Anyways, I call this my Zerg Buster right now. Puncturing sweeps is a conal attack, and so we're going to hit a lot of people in front of us. But I've been running Eye of Lightning, and this is unbuffed, but basically just for 7 seconds, we've just got a lightning storm going around us, and that causes some panic with the enemy. And then this synergizes really well with an ability we have on our back bar. Anyways, this is our offensive bar, and we're very aggressive when we play this. Our back bar. We're running Degeneration. Degenerations is going to apply damage over time, and it's going to help proc our Scoria. And another thing too, so Puncturing Sweeps not too long ago was finally defined as direct damage, which is great. However, it's still proccing Scoria, which is procced off of damage over time. So I'm not going to complain about that, but expect that change to happen at some point. For the time being, your puncturing sweeps is proccing Scoria. Without that puncturing sweeps, this and this would be the only ways we would proc our Scoria, which would still make it valuable because of the damage that comes from Scoria. Anyways, this is also our form of major sorcery, so we're going to gain 20% additional damage with this ability. It's nice. It's part of the Mages Guild. You got to get Mages Guild to level 4. So run around and get those lore books. I'm running Breath of Life, and this is just under unbuffed a 10k heal, and also heals additional target. I've seen some really big heals from this. However, the cost is very high too. So it's not necessarily something you want to stand around and spam unless you have to. And anyways, the ability we were talking about synergizing very well with this as far as Zerg busting is going to be our Proxdet. I can tell you this on this build, because this has an 8-second like timer. You know, you're gonna trigger it, and then 8 seconds from now you're gonna blow up. This causes Zergs to kind of spread. You can kind of split Zergs up a little bit with this. Sometimes you get bursted down as you come in, everybody focuses you, but more times than not, as you move into a group and you move in very quickly with toppling charge, and you have Eye of the Storm going, that's trouble. Eye of the Storm's going, Proc's dead is ticking down, everybody gets the hell out of the way. And so that has been working very well with me. This is a flex spot on the build, and you can put a couple different things. I just started working on Radiant Ward. This is an interesting shield. It can kind of take the place of this if you want. I like this because you hit it and then forget about it, and it's going to do work as long as you're still alive. And it also has that damage multiplier on the bottom. Each enemy within the bomb's radius increases the damage done by 25%. That can get ridiculous when you're running into large outnumbered situations. But this, and you can see it's only level 1 because I was actually doing Sun Shield, and I recently made the switch to this. This one, granted damage shield, it absorbs 6,400 damage, which isn't a very big shield, and it's not a very big shield in PvP, but nearby enemies take 6k magic damage when the shield is activated, and each enemy hit increases the shield strength. So you can actually get this up to a decent sized shield in PvP in outnumbered situations, but the important thing is that nearby enemies take 6k damage, and that can crit. So I've seen 11 and 12k crits of this as I'm activating the shield, and so that's pretty interesting. I'm going to play around with that a little bit more, but right now this is because this has a huge telegraph on it and everybody sees it, you have Proxdet on you, it does exactly what I want it to do. Everybody's like, get the hell out of the way. So we're running Ritual of Retribution. This has a small hot and a small dot on it, and your allies can purify use the purifying synergy and cleanse of all harmful effects for themselves and heal from it. So when you talk about Magicka Templars or Templars in general, this is how you build your house. You drop your ritual and you get your defensive buff going. Channeled Focus is my major resolve, and it's going to give me my physical resistances and spell resistances, and it's also going to give me an additional 240 magic recovery every second. And since magic recovery comes in every 2 seconds, this is just under an extra 500 magic recovery from this. Extra 500 magic recovery. So when we're looking at this, you could add 500 on top of that. Right now we're at 2k. You put Elemental Drain on a target too, and you've got Magic Steel coming in, so that's really nice, which is an extra 300 Magic Recovery coming in every 1 second, so that basically equates to 600 Magic Recovery coming in every 2 seconds. So now all of a sudden, when you look at things on the build, we are at 2600 Magic Recovery. So really, really strong. Let's see, one more thing here. Sorry, fumbling around. I'm running Lifegiver on the back bar, and I'm still leveling this up. But I think the important thing to know about Lifegiver is when you activate this ability, you automatically cast Regeneration, Blessing of Protection, and Steadfast Ward at no cost. These will update based on which morphs of the ability you have. The thing I like about this is the cost on it is 125 ultimate, so it's really low ultimate cost, but you're not stuck in a channeled cast on this. As an example, when you look at Restoring Light, Remembrance, it gives me major protection while I'm casting it, and I'm casting it for 4 seconds, and it's a really good heal, strong heal. This thing puts a beacon on your head. You're like a bug zapper, and everything gathers around you and starts trying to kill you while you're casting this. And there's a lot of times they can just burst you right through this, especially with Stam Crows and Mag Crows, and able to apply major defile and major vulnerability. So I had to move away from Remembrance, and we went the route of Lifegiver. And you can hit this on the run, and it's going to apply this, and this. So basically, when I hit Lifegiver, the party's going to gain some additional physical resistances and minor berserk, and you can't really beat that. So that was definitely the way to go. Let's look at the build buffed up here real quick, and we're looking at 3,300 spell damage on our offensive bar, spell resistance 31,000, and our physical resistance is 27,000. That's very respectable. Our crit resistance 18, almost 1,900, and it's going to go up by 1,350. That's awesome. And anyways, we're going to buff up again here in a second just to kind of see where some things are ability-wise. You can see our spell critical is at 3,600, and Scoria going off in the background. But let me buff up again here real quick. We're going to look at some tooltips. Toppling charge 5,500, puncturing sweep 65 or 30, 36, sorry, 3,600. Purifying light is 4,500, and then we can do up to 18,000 additional damage, and we're at 6,300 on our Eye of Lightning. This is also a flex spot too. If you wanted to run another ability, I would say Crescent Sweep for sure. At 9k magic damage and a target standing in front of you, it's going to do 60% more. So you hit a target with you toppling charge, hit a target with Purifying Light, and then hit Crescent Sweep on them, and you're going to see some pretty big sweeps on that. And so that's a nice combo to run regularly. If you're not running into a lot of outnumbered situations, I would run Crescent Sweep for sure. You're going to get to that ultimate much quicker at 75. It's basically up all the time, whereas you have to save this up at 250. So Yeah. Degeneration's looking at 13,000 magic damage over 12 seconds, so basically a K a second, and our proc stat's looking at 7K coming in, and then that's amplified by 25% for every target hit, so you can't really beat that. I want to look at one other thing too while we're here. 3,500 spell damage, you can see that to the left of my health, and um, yeah. Yeah, so it's a 10K crescent sweep and you can do 60% more damage. So you're looking at a 16K crescent sweep outside of PvP. So 8K. I think I've seen 9K on someone. Might even be an 8 or 9K in the video now that I think about it. um, so anyways, class abilities. You're going to want to get all your class passives. We're going to talk about CP as well here, just so everybody knows how to set this build up, because Greymore, we're going to have a heyday on this build. We do run Destro Staff too. There's a reason for that, and it is Ancient Knowledge. You can run a two-hander. Your sustain is going to be tough. You can run Sword and Board and be tanky. That's fine. But your damage output will be less. But with this right here, equip a Lightning Staff and increase your damage done with area of effect abilities by 8%. It's important to know that your Crescent Sweep, your primary spammable, is considered, while it's also direct damage, it's considered an area of effect because it's a conal attack in front of you. So just using just using a lightning staff is going to give us 8% additional damage against a target. Plus, they're going to take more damage if they're off balance, and the lightning staff synergizes so well. And there might be times where, let's see if I can run ourselves out of Magicka here. I can just hold heavy attack, and if I put elemental drain on them and I hold heavy attack, you can see how quickly our Magicka gains. The lightning staff heavy attack also is going to proc Scoria. So if in a pinch, and you'll see this in the videos, there's times where one target's very close to getting finished off, and I don't know who's around the corner, who's coming up. And so I'll hold heavy attack to finish that target off to kind of get my Magicka back to um, a sustainable area that if I had to fight multiple other targets, we could. So lightning staff is very good for that, whereas if you were trying to channel a heavy attack with a sword and board or heavy attack with dual wield or two-hander, you're not going to get Magicka back. So I really, really like lightning staff on my Magicka Templar, and I've tried them all. So anyways, that's really nice. Pick up all your passives for Destro Staff, pick up all your passives for the Resto Staff, and light armor, you're going to need all your passives for light armor. Here's another flex spot too, since I noticed that if you wanted to drop a shield on there, so it says 9,400 damage shield, it'll be half that. It's not a very big damage shield. You're going to get some sustain back from this shield, and it's at a high cost. If you're going to spend that type of cost for a damage shield, this is the only one that you have access to outside of doing your class ability. Right here, and it could be Radiant Ward or Blazing Shield, and that will help you out. Now you do have access, I take that back, to the Undaunted, but the scaling on this will be based off of stamina. So anyways, you're going to need the first 3 passives for heavy armor. You're going to need all the passives for light armor because we are 5 light, 2 heavy, and you'll only need the first 3. I do have a heavy version of my Spartan build, and I tank with him as a Magicka Templar tank, and I solo vet dungeons and all kinds of crazy stuff with him. So he's super powerful. Fighter Guild ability, I'm not running any I'm not running any fighter guild ability, so I don't really need this passive. It might be worth looking into picking up Dawnbreaker for next patch with the werewolves and vampires running around, and then buff it, dropping 3 points into this. But I do have some additional ultimate coming in. I spent a lot of time in the Imperial City sewers, and so I get ultimate very quickly. And if you're running Crescent Sweep at 75 ultimate, like it's up all the time. Mage's Guild, get all your passives for that. Degeneration. Ice Comet's another really nice one. I noticed that if I toppling charge into somebody, hit an Ice Comet on them, I might be able to catch them with that. You know, they got Purifying Light on them, but the cost on it at 200, you're looking at a 15k frost damage, and then you have a really nice damage over time. If you look at that unbuffed, it's 3700 frost damage over every second for 13 seconds. So if you're doing a banner fight or a boss fight or a large zerg or ball that's just kind of hanging out in a spot, Ice Comet's a nice drop it on them and it'll make them spread out a little bit. But I just really like the synergy between Proxdet and Eye of Lightning, and then get in there on the group and start putting in damage. So and watch what happens. Sigic Order. And I do have channeled acceleration, like I said, if you want a snare removal outside of hitting your ritual retribution. Most of the time, if I'm snared, I just hit this and it's gone. But you could run race against time. Also, some people like race against time because you can trigger it and be fast. They just hit it a lot. I would rather hit it once and be have major expedition for 12 seconds. So I got all the passives here because you get a nifty little damage shield, which is nice. And as I'm casting this and I'm in combat with people, I'm going to get that little ball around me, and that's going to end up doing more damage to the target eventually. So that's nice. Get all of these. Something else to know too that I like, channeled acceleration. While I'm channeling this, because it takes 1.3 seconds to cast that, because I have deliberation, while you're casting your channeled Sigic Order abilities, you gain major protection for 30 seconds. So that's good because a lot of people, this is the turn off for them. It takes 1.3 seconds, whereas Race Against Time might be a shorter duration, but it's instant. I have major protection while I'm casting this, so it doesn't really bother me often. And concentrated barrier, this is your damage shield that you get when you got 2 points into it. That's nice. I do have both my Undaunted passives on this. However, we're only hitting light and medium, and we've got Proxdet, and we have our passives here. Spartan is my main. I've played him since beta, and so anyways, he has just a ton of almost near max sky shards and stuff like that. I could run around and grab the rest, but we don't really need them just yet. You can see we have extra. And we are a Nord, and this rugged passives, how we're able to push the resistances that we're able to push. That's great. Ult Gen, this helps us. Additional stamina, that's great for Stalwart. And we have extra health here. And cold resistance, which helps against wardens. So he also is a max crafter, so when you go and you look at everything here, like I have so many points, I have just all this stuff. So that's great. This is my crafter and my main damage dealer and everything. And to look at the Mundus Stone that we're using, we are using the Apprentice for additional spell damage, and our food is the Bewitched Sugar Skulls. We like the max stat from our Bewitched Sugar Skull, and the health recovery is really nice at 393, and the fact that Amber Plasm is gaining health recovery going into Greymore, that all synergizes perfectly. Let's look at CP real quick so you can see how I like to assign my points. We're a Magicka Templar, so 60 is my soft cap or hard cap because of diminishing returns, diminishing gains. So I don't normally like to go over 60. Anyways, we've got 60 into Bless, so we get an additional 12% healing done. 60 into Elfborn, increased my critical damage and critical healing by almost 21%. Elemental Expert, it's going to increase all of my elemental damage by 12%, so the lightning, and our sweeps, pretty much everything we do. Spell Erosion, we've got an extra 2700 penetration there with that. 60 into Master at Arms because our toppling charge is considered direct damage and our puncturing sweeps is now considered direct damage, and so that's great. And then we don't have any points into here, so I could jump 75 into Thaumaturge. However, at this point it would do me no good because puncturing sweeps is considered damage or direct damage, and so it's not considered damage over time. And so putting 75 in here just to get Exploiter for the 10% extra damage is not worth it. So 60 in Ironclad. Here's an example why I do only 60 points. The most you can get out of this is 25%. Reduce your damage taken against direct damage attacks. We'll say it's 25%. I'm almost at 21%. So I would have to dump 40 points into this just to get this to 25. So I would gain 4% with another 40 points. That's not worth it. So right around 60 is where I stop. 60 into Spell Shield for the additional spell resistance. We have 30 into crit resistance. 60 into light armor focus, and that's going to give me an extra 4,500 physical resistance. And this is where I differ on my build than a lot of people. A lot of people like to dump a lot of points into Hardy and Elemental Defender. The thing about that is if let's say a 10,000 damage magic ability is coming into you, and I drop 60 points into this. If it cuts it by 10%, that's 1,000 damage mitigated off that 10,000 damage ability. I would rather take that 60 points and put it into light armor focus and increase my physical resistances with light armor, or I guess since we're using Elemental Defender as the example, instead of dropping 60 points into Elemental Defender and saving myself 1,000 magic damage from a 10,000 damage hit, I'd rather put 60 points into spell resistance and give me another 4,400 spell resistance. So now that's just the way I like to do it. I like to see max stats. I like to see my resistances bumped as high as they can. Now going into Greymore with Stunes and other abilities that strip resistances, maybe this is the way to go. I don't know, and I'll play around with that. But for right now, I like to stack my resistances. So people are like, how the hell are you pushing such high resistances? Because I don't mess around with these at all. I go whatever armor that I'm wearing, drop 60 points into that. If it's light, if it's heavy, medium, whatever it is, and then drop 60 into this. Make sure I always do 60 in that no matter what I'm doing. This is always a must. So anyways, 60 into quick recovery. I like to have additional 12% heals coming in. 60 into Warlord. Makes my break freeze about 21% less. And we are going to be CC'd and we won't have to break free. And then I have 65 in Arcanist. That's one of the rare occasions where I go over. 40 into Mooncalf because we have a big stamina pool. I like to dodge roll and I'm going to have to break free. And then Tenacity, we have an extra 15 points into that, so it gives us 4% extra magic recovery on our lightning attack heavy channels. And 30 into Tumbling, we do that often. And then I have 60 into Shadow Ward. And I think it's important to know that your entire back bar, your resto bar, is all block cast capable for the most part. So you can hold block, build your house, throw out heals, and mitigate tons of damage coming in while you are buffing up. And so block cast capable. Your front bar for the most part is not block cast capable because your puncturing sweep, you're stuck in a channeled animation. So, and that is my CP, everyone. So just to recap, we looked at our gear. We are running Falcon Scoria, running New Moon, and we're going to probably change that out to Stunes going into Greymore, and we are running Amber Plasm, and this set is only going to get stronger, and he's super excited about that. And we are no longer a vampire. So with the changes of the vampire coming up and the changes to Amber Plasm, it kind of pointed me in the direction of let's become even more tanky with the health recovery, passive health recovery that's coming in, and the additional crit resistance that's coming in. This is going to be a very strong build, people. So, all right, thanks for coming, and stick around if you want to see the BG footage and the walkthrough of how I play this build. Thanks. Hey everybody, so here we are with some BG footage of the Spartan build, and first thing I like to look at is the fact that we're in a death match and we've got 3 people. So we're a person down already, and I want to take that into account. And so anyways, because we're a person down, I feel like flanking the opponents is probably going to be the better idea rather than running straight in and then meeting them head on. So anyways, I start coming around the building and I see that they're kind of waiting and seeing what's going to happen too. And obviously my team and I are not in comms because team grouping is not allowed in BGs at this point. So anyways, they go in and I'm going to move in on the very back person, and we're going to burn that person down. My party's following me, following my lead, so that's working out really well. We've got 3 quick kills there. I'm going to burst this person down, and then I'm going to dodge roll through this and try and create a flanking situation or a sandwich. I'm behind them, my team's in front of them, and we're going to cause problems. You can see that one of the reds already respawned. My Magicka is very low, so I'm just going to kind of create a line of sight, hold a heavy attack here, and get some Magicka coming in, and then we're going to execute that person. I can see that my Magicka is low, my stamina is low, and the Stam DK is back in the, or Mag DK is back in the hunt. And so right now I'm block casting a little bit, and I break free, and I'm going to create a line of sight, get super low. Actually, it looked like I even said 0 health at one point. Here's where I mess up. I should have held my heavy attack off to the side longer, and I do not have the right potions equipped right now. I have stealth detect potions, and had I had tripod stats, I probably would have survived that, and so that's where I messed up. I went in too early when I could have easily, I had a flanking position off to the side. I could have easily channeled a heavy attack to get more Magicka in the tank, let my stamina get back up, and the fact that I don't have tripods potions equipped is a problem. I go back into the fight trying to join the team here. I buff up, see this guy's low, toppling charge in, hit him with 8800. I see a Stam Crow up top. He's going to stay up there. I'm going to see if I can trap him in this room and burn him down. He didn't really know what to do. He's a lowbie. You can see 66 CP. He just kind of panics, and my team follows me up there to beat the heck out of that guy. And so we're going to run down here. Take a look around. I see damage coming in. There's purple team. We have the numbers right now, but we don't know where red team's going to be coming in from, so we're going to move in on purple team, try and burn them down. I dodge roll back through the opponent. When they CC'd me, I know that I have to break a hard CC, and then I got to break the soft CC of Fossilize. So if you can, when you break free of the hard CC, and you need to break free of the root, dodge roll through your opponent, so that way hopefully their whip can't land on you. So now we're just looking for opponents here and giving ourselves a chance. Here comes purple, and I'm going to close in. There's only 2 purple right now. We're going to put some damage into them, and my team's doing a good job backing me up right now. We do have a 4th. I'm going to see if I can get a kill here, and I've got a Nightblade in the back, so I'm going to go back to the back row again, try and get everybody back in front of me, and we put some damage into them. Getting low on resources here. I'm going to channel some heavy attacks here, and then we're going to go back in and try and help my partner out here, and we get them. And we're going to toppling charge, CC them, hold a heavy attack for a little bit, hold heavy attack a little bit because we don't know when the other team is coming in. So, and here we're just going to kind of hold our position. We're doing a good job so far, and letting our resources get caught back up. Here's purple, and I'm going to line of sight these guys, see if I can bait them. They don't follow me, and so we're just going to meet them head on since we have the numbers here. I don't break free of that CC immediately. There was no need. I didn't have damage. And right now my stamina's low and I'm pushing in really hard, getting overly aggressive, and now I'm going to get caught out of position. I burned all my stamina block casting those heals right there when I should have dodge rolled to that door right to the right there. As soon as they got that ultimate going on me, the assault for 18k, I should have dodge rolled to the hallway there and line of sight and broke it. So that's how I screwed up there and got killed. I went to the block cast and let's spam some heals, and that's usually not the answer. So gonna go back in here, kind of looking around. I'm not worried. Looks like my team's following. You see to the top left that their icons didn't gray out, so I guess the team's kind of following my lead here. And I see purple going in the door here. It's our lobby, and there's saying in PvP, and that's the tail gets bit. So I'm going to try and bite the tail here, especially because it's a lobby, so that it looked like he didn't do very well under pressure. So I'm going to wait for my team. We're going to buff up. Sounds like there's fighting going on up top, and we're going to come in and gap close to him, burn him down before he could do much of anything. And I saw the rest of the purple team go over here, and I'm going to try and bite the tail again. And it looked like one of my teammates actually went the other way and met them head on. And so anyways, I'm out of position now. I've got 4 people on me. The books to the left here, I should have used them as a line of sight. Now to my right, I did not create any line of sight, and I'm just eating damage from 3 people, and that's where I screwed up. No tri-stat potions to help, and no line of sight. I'm just going to stand out in front of everybody, eat damage, and die. And so those are the type of things I look for. Where do I screw up? How many times did I screw up? And it was a positional thing. I should have created line of sight. See my teammate running in over here, so I'm going to go join them. If not for me, maybe for them. And it looks like there's someone in here, a sorcerer. So that was a good choice. And we're going to toppling charge the sorcerer, put some damage into him. It didn't CC him either time, and so I'm going to turn around and toppling charge him 3 times. This guy falls off the building right in front of us. I don't know what that's all about, but thank you for the kill. And so we're going to move down. My resources are really good. I'm going to toppling charge into this person, debuff them, and we're going to put some damage into them. And now I know that the spawn point for the other team's back behind us, so I want to keep moving. I don't want to just hang out in that doorway. Here's red team right here. I'm going to move to the right, create a line of sight. I buffed up as I move to the right, and they don't follow me. I'm going to go out, and we're going to try and take some people out. Gap close to this red, kill him right in front of the rest of his team, and that other red's really low, so we're going to kill him right in front of the rest of his team. And that red's really low, so I'm going to kill him right in front of the rest of his team. And I'm really low on resources right now. Don't have tripod stats. Try pots again, and if it weren't for my team, I would have died there yet again because of that. So really low. We're going to channel some heavy attacks right now, and I see this guy super low. I'm going to gap close into him and finish him off. I'm going to go back to the doorway here. I know I'm in a pinch point where the other team at some point is going to respawn and start coming to us, but the doorway is dangerous, and you can see that's what happens to him right there. Is we get pinched a little bit, and so I'm going to put some damage into that guy, and we're going to try and burst him down. I have a teammate that drops down, and right now at this point it's just myself and another teammate, and they're taking a lot of damage, and I don't have much Magicka, so I go to resto heavy attack, and we're going to just hold some heavy attacks here and see what type of Magicka we can get back. Entire purple team's waiting up there. They don't want to come in and commit to us. I run over here to see if they chase. They do not. They go after my team. teammate, and my teammate is getting pinched right now, so I'm gonna jump in on these two players, I see red coming up from behind, so I'm gonna dodge roll out of here and dodge roll again, and then I have to break free because of the fossilize that comes in. Now I'm out of stamina, and I need to remember that. And I see red getting low, so we're going to jump in, try and get the kill there, and I'm going to dodge roll out of the situation, go join my teammate out here, try and get some resources back. Out of Magicka, out of stamina. And I'm holding heavy attack right now in case somebody comes around the corner so I can get a little bit of something in the tank. Here's purple team, and unneeded dodge roll there, didn't mean to, but we're going to debuff this guy and try and burn him down in front of the other two. We see red coming in from the far side, and I'm going to jump on red. He's got a super low guy. I got a couple heavy attacks in, and I'm going to jump on the back row here, get everybody in front of me so I can see what's going on. I got two low people there, and that's the game. 16-3. Fun times. So sorry if I talk too fast there, but that's kind of what's going on upstairs. So